Hey everyone, this is part 2 of inverse of functions. So first thing we're going to do is read our steps. So to find the inverse of a function, step 1, you're going to replace f of x with y, or g of x with y, h of x with y, whatever you have. Then you are going to switch the x and the y because the domain and range are switched for inverses. And then you're going to solve for y again. Once you solve for y, you'll replace your f of x with, or your y with the f inverse or g inverse, whatever function you're given. So if we look at our example, okay, it says find the inverse of the function. So step 1, we rewrite it with y equals. Step 2 told us to switch the x and the y. And step 3 said we start solving. So when I solve, the first thing I would do is I would add 4 to both sides to get to get y by itself. So I get x plus 4 equals 7y. Then I divide by 7. So I get x plus 4 over 7 equals y. Now that I have y by itself, step 4 says I just replace that y with f inverse, and I have x plus 4 over 7. And that would be my answer. Now, this can also be written as f inverse of x of 1/7 x plus 4/7. Okay, so that answer is also correct. So either option, you might need to know both depending if it's a multiple choice or not. Okay, moving on to the second example. We have g of x equals 3 over x plus 2 minus 6. So first thing we do is rewrite this with y equals. Step 2, we switch our x and our y. Step 3, we start solving for y. So I'm going to start by adding 6. So I get x plus 6 equals 3 over y plus 2. I need to get that y out of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by y plus 2 on both sides. So I need to scoot this over. Okay, when I do that, these cancel each other out. So I'm left with y plus 2 times x plus 6 equals 3. We don't want to multiply those out. We just want to move that x plus 6 to the other side. So to do that, we're going to have to divide by x plus 6 because that's the opposite of multiplication. When we do that, those cancel out. I'm left with y plus 2 equals 3 over x plus 6. Now I need to get 2 by itself, so I subtract 2 from both sides. So I get y equals 3 over x plus 6 minus 2. Now that I've solved for y, I can write it back in function notation, but remember we started with the g, so that would be g inverse of x equals 3 over x plus 6 minus 2. So this one you have to be careful to make sure that minus 2 doesn't go in that fraction because it's not part of the fraction. Okay, so next one. Again, we start by rewriting the function using y equals. Step 2, we switch the x and the y. Step 3, we start solving for y. Now the inverse or opposite operation of squaring something is taking the square root. So we're going to take the square root of both sides. But when I take the square root and I'm solving an equation, I have to remember plus or minus the square root of x plus 4 is equal to y. So now that I have that, I can rewrite it back in function notation. So f inverse of x equals plus or minus the square root of x plus 4. If you left off that plus or minus, that would not be the inverse of this function. So you have to remember, anytime you take the square root, it's a plus or minus out in front. Looking at the last example, again, step 1, you start by rewriting it using y. Step 2, you start solving for y. You switch your x and your y. Step 3 is where you start solving for y. So I'm going to start by adding 1 to both sides. So I get x plus 1 equals y plus 3 cubed. Opposite of cubing something is to take the cube root. So I'm going to take the cube root of both sides. So this time, because it's a cube root, it's an odd power, we don't have to do the plus or minus. So it leaves me with this. Now I need to get y by itself, so I subtract 3, but you have to be careful because that 3 does not go under the radical symbol. It does not go under the cube root. So I have x plus 1 under, and then minus 3 on the outside, and that gives me y. And then all I need to do is rewrite it in function notation, which is g inverse equals the cube root of x plus 1 minus 3 on the outside. So if you have any questions, please make sure you email your teacher or you write them down and ask your teacher the next time you see him in class. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.